Carter Farrell, his wife Loretta, and their son William lived on their farm in Greenville, Tennessee. The family ran a dairy business. But ever since Carter Farrell's accident that bound him to a wheelchair, the family had been struggling. William had grown up through difficult times. His mother handled the farm alone, caring for the property and managing the livestock. 15 years passed by like this. William recently completed college. However, now the family's financial situation dwindled towards the worst. "Dad, if things go on like this, we're going to lose the farm, the house. Let me go to the city. Perhaps I can get a job there." "But son, you know my situation." Carter took out the last of his savings. "This is all your father can give you. But I have a friend in Nashville. I'll write him a letter. I'm sure he can arrange a place for you." Nearly 20 years ago, Carter himself was living in Nashville. He had helped out a friend, Simon, who needed a job at the time. Perhaps all these years later, he would return the favor. So William set off to Nashville with a few $100s and a letter written to Simon. It was quite the hassle finding him, but when William introduced himself and handed him his father's letter, Simon agreed to help. Within a few days, Simon dropped him off at an apartment, and from what it seemed after that, he vanished. When William stepped into the apartment, he knew things weren't going to be easy. All there was a rusty old bed, a flimsy table and chair. With his few $100s, he had to travel, find a job, buy food, cook food. Unfortunately, finding a job proved difficult, as did arranging food. But alas, William ended up accepting a job at a movie rental store. But even then, it was long before he would get his pay. It was one evening, William was at home, too lazy to cook, when he heard a knock on his door. It was an elderly woman. She carried a bowl of hot stew and a sweet smile on her face. "Hello, I'm Martha Jameson. I live across from you. I was making beef stew and I thought I'd share with my neighbor. You live alone, don't you?" "Yes, thank you. This is very kind of you." "No, thank you. The truth is, seeing you reminded me of my son. He was just like you, but he's no more. I'm so sorry for your loss." "It's alright. I guess I'll see you around." Mrs. Jameson turned to leave when she stopped. "Would you like to have dinner together? It's nice to have company." "Sure." Martha Jameson had been living alone for the last 10 years since her son passed away on duty overseas. She was a single mother, and his demise had been heart-wrenching for her. But meeting William, she felt a solace she hadn't felt in a long time. "Mrs. Jameson, again?" "I made chocolate cake. Don't tell me you don't like chocolate cake." She often brought over food for William, and sometimes she just came over for company. "What are you doing? Let's go watch TV. A new movie is premiering tonight." "Another movie? I work all day in a movie store." "Oh, come on, you don't have caramel popcorn at your store." Mrs. Jameson had been really kind. It was relieving coming home to someone who cared. Because work was tough. A girl had come in today with quite the attitude. She hadn't returned a VHS tape, but she wouldn't admit it. "I'm telling you I returned it. Do you even know who I am?" "Well, I've checked the register, you're Alice Johnson, but as for the VHS tape, Wayne the Huntsman 4, it's not here." "Well, you must have made a mistake. Of course, because you're new here, aren't you? What's your name?" "William. For your information, I come here all the time. The owner even knows me." Not wanting to create a scene, William just decided to let her win. Okay, you're right. I'll just check again." "Thank you." Alice was tired of dealing with so many people, first at the restaurant where she worked, and now this new guy at the movie rental store. She went home, cooked up some dinner, and got ready to watch a new movie. But just when she went to place the tape in the VHS player, she realized there was another one inside already. Wayne the Huntsman 4. Oops. The next day at work, when William saw Alice walk in, he started acting like he was busy. Surprisingly, she placed a VHS tape on the counter and awkwardly chuckled. "Remember me from yesterday? Alice, right?" "Yeah, I actually went home and found the tape." "Oh, that's great, thank you. I'm sorry about yesterday." William chuckled, seeing how quiet Alice was, so he took out another VHS tape. "This is the new Wayne the Huntsman 5. It came in this morning. You like his movies, don't you?" "The new one? You kept it for me? Thanks, William." "My friends call me Bill." "Then, thanks, Bill." It seemed that William had finally made a friend in the big city. Alice was fun, cheerful, not to mention a movie fanatic. She came to the store almost every day, and sometimes it seemed just to meet him. William was suddenly enjoying his stay here. When he finally got his first paycheck, he couldn't wait to use it. Mrs. Jameson's TV hadn't been working, so he had to arrange something for that, and also had to send money back home. "Bill, what's all of this?" "It's a gift for you. I wanted to say thank you for everything." "The last time I got a gift was from my son." "Now no tears, Mrs. Jameson. Open it." "A kitchen set. Is this gift for me or for yourself so I can cook for you?" "Maybe. And this isn't a TV, but up until I can buy a TV, you can have this radio." That evening, after setting up the radio, Mrs. Jameson insisted William stay for dinner. "This tastes really good. You're extra happy these days. Did you meet someone?" "Actually, I did. Her name is Alice." "Tell me all about her." Things were going well for William and Alice. They went on dates, watched movies at home, and sometimes Alice even stayed over. It was one evening while William and Alice were returning home from one of their dates that they noticed some guys had started to whistle at Alice. "Hey there, pretty woman." William glared at them, but they continued teasing Alice, spewing out nasty comments. "Wow, look at that. I'd take her home any day." Seeing William clenching his jaws, Alice pulled him along. "Ignore them, Bill. They're like that." But then, the guys jumped off their Jeep and began following them, speaking to Alice as if William wasn't even there. "Come on, baby. You can come home with us tonight. We'll pay you double what he's paying you." William tried to keep his temper, but when he saw the guy take out his money, he couldn't control his rage anymore. "What did you say?" "Say it again. Say it again." "Nothing, man." Alice stood there as William continued to punch the guy. Two of the guys had fled, and the third, let's just say, he wasn't getting up from the ground soon. "Bill, stop, leave him." Alice had to pull William away. He was so enraged. "Bill, what was that? I thought you were like Clark Kent, but you turned out to be Superman. How are you so strong? You should be a boxer or MMA fighter. You could have fought 10 of them." Yeah, I know." That night, William dropped Alice home and returned to his apartment. But as much as he wanted to lay down and rest, he saw his landlord having a rather heated conversation with Mrs. Jameson. "Here's the eviction notice. You have 2 weeks, Mrs. Jameson." "In 2 weeks? How will I arrange this money in 2 weeks?" "That's not my problem. You either pay the last 3 months or leave." As the landlord left rather irritated, William hurried to Mrs. Jameson's apartment. "What happened, Mrs. Jameson?" "I haven't been able to pay the rent. In this age, you know I'm not able to work. Maybe it's time I move into one of those old age homes." "No, Mrs. Jameson. Let me see what I can do." Bill couldn't sleep that night, thinking about how he would arrange all this money. Mrs. Jameson owed almost $4,000. "What happened, Bill? Why do you look so stressed?" "You've seen the elderly woman that lives across from me. She helped me out when I had no one here. But the landlord's evicting her for the rent. I have to help her out, but whatever money I made, I spent it here and sent the rest back home. I don't have anything." "I have about 500 saved up, and I think I can borrow 1,000 from my dad. That's still not enough. I have to manage something." William was very upset. What would he do? He was walking to the store wondering if his boss would loan him the money. Buy your tickets. The fight is gonna be tonight. Whoever can take down the big fist is gonna get $5,000 prize money. Seeing the banner, William suddenly became curious. A boxing match? Can anyone join the fight? The big fist ain't no ordinary man. Are you sure you're up for it? Will I get the money in cash right away? Yeah. The next Friday night, William arrived at the arena. He watched the big fist fight off all the other competitors like it was nothing. He was a big man, but William had to win this fight under any cost. Last 3 minutes in the ring with the big fist for the sum of $5,000. When William stepped into the ring, the man looked at him with a smirk. Where do you find these girls? Talking about yourself? And the winner is... What's your name, pal? Bill Farrell. Bill Farrell! After Bill was given the money, he didn't stay back a minute longer to enjoy his newly earned fame. Don't worry about returning it. It's yours. Bill, where did you get this money? No, I can't take this from you. Please, Mrs. Jameson, it would mean a lot to me. Fortunately, Mrs. Jameson's issue was resolved. And surprisingly, a few days later, one of the men from the day of the fight suddenly stopped him outside. You're Bill Farrell, right? There's a tournament coming up. Another $7 grand is up for grasp. Are you coming? William realized he suddenly gained a lot of popularity defeating the big fist, so he decided to give it a try. And it was in no time that his boxing career started. Give it up for the new champion, Bill Farrell. He was suddenly making a lot of money and easily able to send it back home, and in just 3 months, he had reached a higher position in the field and was getting bigger offers. I'm going to buy a TV today. A TV? For me? No, not for you. For Mrs. Jameson. What? You got me a 10-inch color TV? But how'd you get this bruise? Long story. Alice had been supportive of him, but Mrs. Jameson wasn't so happy seeing the bruises and sores William often got. I brought dinner for you. Steak. Did you steal this from the restaurant? Please, I work overtime, and he still doesn't pay me. Back in Greenville, however, news of William's fame reached his father. Congratulations, Carter. Looks like your son is finally making those dreams come true. What are you talking about? You don't know? William's become the new name in boxing. Everyone's talking about him. No, so this is where he's been sending all the money from. William had accepted a big offer for 15 grand. It was the fight of the year against a longtime champion. But seeing William's success in such a short time, a lot of people had bet money on him. William did all he could to prepare. However, the night of the fight, he suddenly received a call. Bill, it's for you. It's Carter Farrell? Dad? How did he find out? Hello? Bill, don't do this, son. You know our family's problem. You know how your grandfather died. What happened to your uncle? What happened to me? I've been living this miserable life. Son, I don't want anything bad happening to you. Dad, I have to go. William didn't have a choice. The fight was set. Money was on the line. He couldn't back out now. He got into the ring, staring at his opponent. But as he heard the sound of the bell ring, he suddenly felt a little strange. The whole fight seemed like it happened in a haze, before he suddenly felt a heavy hit on his head. But William fought through the pain and the injuries, ultimately winning. Congratulations, Bill, you did it! Yeah, but this is going to be my last fight. Last fight? My father, he doesn't want me to box. So William quit boxing. But after a few days of rest and relief, William suddenly started to experience strange symptoms. Alice, I can't see you properly. What's happening? Bill? Bill! When William had suddenly fallen unconscious, Alice called an ambulance immediately. I'm sorry, but I can't say whether you'll regain your eyesight. The injury to your head has caused a brain hemorrhage. The damage is quite severe. The doctor said William didn't have long to live. There was a possibility he could pass away in his sleep from a sudden stroke. Alice tried to be by his side as much as she could. He had become awfully sick. Alice, take me back to Tennessee. If these are going to be my last days, I want to die in peace at home. Okay. Alice arranged for tickets to Greenville and settled everything for William in Nashville. Before leaving that weekend, William went to meet Mrs. Jameson for a last time. Don't worry, Mrs. Jameson. I'll get better and I'll come back. My son also said the same, but he didn't come back. William gave Mrs. Jameson a good portion of money he saved up in the last months and bid her farewell. He and Alice drove out to Tennessee and arrived sometime late in the afternoon. Loretta rushed to meet her son, tears overflowing to her eyes, seeing his condition. Why did you have to do this, Bill? Mom, don't worry, I'll be okay. Loretta wiped her tears and looked at Alice. You must be Alice. Bill wrote about you in his letters. William's parents were kind to Alice. They welcomed her and thanked her for bringing their son home. William, however, had fallen even more ill from the journey. The next few days went by in much anxiety, trying to nurse William back to health, but nothing helped. It was one morning, while Alice was walking around in the house, that she spotted a trophy. It was a boxing trophy. She didn't know it was in the family. As she tried to read the label, she saw Carter approach her. Mr. Farrell, were you a boxer as well? There was a time when I did box, but this trophy belongs to my father, Bill's granddad. He was a great boxer. Thomas Farrell. No one had seen a man so superior, so strong. It was as if nothing could stop him. Over his career, he was injured many times, but he always returned to the game. It was unbelievable. People started to call him the Invincible Farrell. Eventually, he got an offer from some very powerful people. They bet a lot of money on him and were confident he would win. But the night of the match, things didn't go as planned. Look, you have to use this. Hit him on his eyes. You'll definitely win the match. You want me to cheat? No, I can defeat him fair and square. We don't need it to be fair. You need to win. You realize how much money has been put on you. My father was reluctant, but he didn't have a choice. If he didn't listen, he would be in trouble. They wouldn't spare him. But that night, something happened that changed his life forever. He hit as hard as he could. But when the man fell to the ground, his eyes burning from the grease, he stared at my father enraged. You didn't defeat me. You cheated. I curse you. I curse your blood. You think you would cheat and get fame? You'll never have success. Success will always cheat you. That night, his rival had passed away from a stroke, and soon after, the guilt had devastated my father. He fell sick and never recovered. After his death, I followed in his footsteps and became a boxer, but I injured myself and got paralyzed. My younger brother, he too passed away in the ring. I never wanted William to suffer like this. Our family has been cursed. Now, there's no way out of this. Alice was shocked when she heard the story from Carter. Could it really be true? Was William suffering like this because of a curse? She didn't know what to believe. But over the next days, when William's condition worsened, he developed a high fever that couldn't be brought down even with medication. Alice became in despair. She couldn't let it end like this. That's when she spotted the trophy again. This had all started to win that trophy. That night, Alice took the trophy and went out into the field. He doesn't need this. He never wanted to be a part of this. Alice, I can see again. Mom, Dad, I can see again. William was finally able to recover. It seemed that Alice had lifted the curse, but the Farrells decided they would leave boxing forever. Click on the subscribe button and check out more awesome videos on our channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon because you know it's interesting.